You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
Together we are Raw Break. How's every single one of you, family? Welcome to the AEW Dynamite before Thanksgiving. I hope all of you are either cooking, getting stuff ready to be with your families, have a great get-together, have a great time, be thankful for all the good and positive things we have in our lives. Some negatives, hey, we all have stuff like that. But what is not negative is this show. And we're going to be dissecting everything from this AEW Dynamite from Chicago that had a great promo, Paul. One of the greatest promos on World Awards in probably the last year, 2 years. So what do you think about this Dynamite?
I mean, overall, I think this Dynamite was really good. They did a lot of stuff. On the program that I liked. Some stuff it was unbearable. It was bad. But I mean, overall, the main thing here, the main segment, the thing that everyone's going to be talking about, it wasn't the main event. It was really what we saw for the first 40 minutes of this show, pretty much.
Yes.
Or at least the first half hour of this show.
Yes.
And that was everything with CM Punk and MJF, which we'll get into in a little bit. But that was really one of the best segments that AEW Dynamite's ever put out, in my opinion. So, I think this show was a thumbs up in a good way, to lead us into Thanksgiving. We've been saying it the past couple weeks, they're pretty much, if you don't count NXT UK because they're, a smaller promotion, you would say that AEW is the number one show right now.
Right now, yeah. Especially for the quality of the product is what really at least gets us excited. And especially for something like this.
Star power.
Star power and, promos like this, the segments are way better than what WWE is putting. So we're going to be talking about everything. Family, thank you so very much for being with us. For being all the time, checking us out either in any social media platform that we have, posts, all of it. Don't forget, here is the latest video, NXT 2.0, kind of the road for War Games. So it's going to be next Sunday. So it's finally, now we have everything confirmed, like the women's match, the men's, like the past and the future are going to be feuding inside War Games. Check out the review for this video. And Paul, it's interesting, but I don't think we're looking really forward for this.
No, I mean, it is kind of just thrown together last minute. And I like the feud of the new guys versus the old guys, but I feel like it was set up so quickly and so poorly. How can you really get into it or care about it? I hope the old guys win. I like all those guys on that team. But no, I'm not too excited for this, to be honest. But we will cover it anyway.
Yes, family, yeah, we gotta give it a chance. So. Yes. So, family, let's start digging into AEW Dynamite from Chicago. Of course, CM Punk has to open the show. Why? Because Chicago's own. That's his first most decorated hero or son. And he's just MJF also came out and they start a really great promo, digging at each other on everything that they had. There was nothing missing, nothing left. And the stuff that WWE digs, they were really good. What was the Miz, a smaller version of the Miz or something like that? That was really cool.
Yeah, just
you want to be like the Miz. Yeah, but go ahead, Paul. Walk me through your favorite spots.
I mean, yeah, just like you said, back and forth, it was so good, but there was a story to it too. It wasn't just insults. It was pretty much how MJF was a fan growing up, and now MJF is yeah, I was a fan, but now I see you're just a shell of your former self. You're just bullshit. But the whole thing started, MJF was pissed because CM Punk never mentioned him in any of the interviews of guys he wanted to wrestle. And he said, well, I never did that because I knew it would go to your ego because I knew you're a piece of shit. He's I didn't know your name.
I didn't want to boost your ego up, yes.
He's I didn't know your name was Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I thought it was my jealous fan. So that line was great. And then, he pretty much said and then MJF said, you can't see me. And then he's you were stuck behind, you can't see me, and
the King of Kings,
and all that stuff. So great digs here, and back and forth, all this, and it was so good. And it pretty much ended was is CM Punk really the best in the world? Because he took a shot at him for the UFC record. He's this is going to be shorter than your UFC career. All this stuff, something about setting his watch from clobbering time to, I forget what he said. The one line I loved early on when he's you're the only guy who's straight edge, but looks like he's a meth addict. All this stuff. It was so good. It was so MJF. And this is what we knew it would be. But so the war of words, the insults, that was all great. But like I said, they had a story that led you, that got you excited to the feud. And, they, did they touch? Did they beat each other up? Was there a big pull apart brawl? No. So, that's what keeps it so good. And that's really what, it makes me want to see it. And like I said before, this can't just be a one match thing. If it is, MJF has to go over, but
it's going to be a pretty extended program, right?
But I think it's got to be a feud. I think maybe, MJF wins the first one. I would say CM Punk wins the second one, and then you do a third one, but you got to put MJF. MJF has to go over the actual feud when it ends.
Because that would really get him ready.
I would do 3 matches. I would say MJF wins the first one 30. CM Punk wins the second one clean. They have a third one, and MJF wins clean, whatever the stipulation is.
Yeah, I feel that is a good way to get MJF ready for the next step, to just be like, that company man, because he kind of is, but at the same time,
I'll tell you what that is. And by that time, hopefully, maybe Hangman Page could finish up his feud. Maybe he's already moved on from Danielson and moved on to somebody else, finish that up.
And then you have that.
And MJF, because he needs to be the next world champion.
And I feel that Tony Khan knows it, because he's one of the main guys. And especially this, Paul, that his contract is coming up in 2024. So if they do that, what is he going to most likely do? Resign, right? Instead of I can go to WWE.
Remember last week he said, I'll be the start of the bidding war.
It's the first one that's gonna go to the WWE, and instead of the switch shift stuff. But like you said, I love that. There was a lot of good lines. He says Tony Khan should have a daughter, and then you should marry her or something like that.
Oh, so that was great.
Yeah, that was good, and also
I was gonna say family, definitely. I'm sure they're gonna upload this whole segment on YouTube.
Yeah.
Go watch this.
Please watch it. For example, he says I wanted to fight the most fighters in this company, like Darby Allin, and then I didn't want to just face you, because even Reed Baker, DMD, he already replaced you as one of the pillars of the company.
Yeah, that was good.
So that was good. This is just great. And like you said, the one thing, they didn't touch each other. So then CM Punk went and have the match with QT Marshall. Who gives a damn about this? If you believe that QT had a chance, I'm sorry, but
this was too long. See, CM Punk should have been so fired up and so angry. This should have been 3 minutes. QT should have came in, been throwing punches, doing whatever. Maybe CM Punk, sold them a little bit in the beginning. Then it should have been Punk offense, boom, boom, boom. This should have been 3 minutes. The fact that this went through a commercial break, all this stuff came back, because he even said on commentary, Punk, he didn't look his best here tonight, but he still won. And I'm like, was this, maybe they did it to sell the whole, MJF thing of is Punk still, the best in the world? Does he still have it? It's but he beat Darby Allin, so yeah, I would say he's pretty good. So I don't get the whole questioning his ability thing, because he's still undefeated. But no, I didn't care for this match. To me, but I was still riding high from the the promo.
From the promo, and we know that CM Punk was going to win. There was no way that he was not going to win. So that's fine. Hey, they give the Chicago people that were there and be in the show in attendance. They gave him a little bit of CM Punk, so that's fine. Let's move on to this, because we know that Christian Cage is kind of managing at the same time being part of the group with Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus. Finally, Marco Stunt is not part of this anymore, or maybe they don't want him, because it really diminishes. It really takes away the seriousness of the group.
I feel like now that Tony Khan has all these stars and he listens to what people say, it's how do you have legit wrestling stars and then you have people like the Joey Janela's and Sonny Kiss and Marco Stunt and even QT Marshall and his group and all these, and these other people come out and you're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
I feel like that's with the Dark Order to a certain extent, but that's why I feel like you don't see these guys. And the one thing, Christian, he cuts a good promo, but do you think this is the right place and the right spot for him, or should he be?
The only thing that, for example, what did he reveal? He said that now Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy are the number one team ranked for the AEW Tag Team Championships, right?
Yeah.
And so he said, who better than Christian to mentor these guys, since he's a 9-time, 10-time, tag team champion. So I feel that if they want to go through that route, it makes total sense, because he will be able to be like, okay, guys, this is how I won the championships. This is how you carry yourself. Kind of in that storyline, world, like you said, in the world of kayfabe, he will be able to get these guys ready for the next level. So that's the only thing. But what is he going to do? Is his singles career? Then that's completely different. We'll see where he fits into that. But at least for me, it does make sense that he's helping them out. So that I think
in that context, yeah, that makes sense. But the only thing is, your tag team champions are feuding with FTR, and your tag team champions are babyface. So why would I want to see this match? That's what I mean. I didn't care about this, and it just seems so weird. It was like Christian, okay, Impact champ, he looked good, all this stuff. And now it's like you don't do anything.
Yeah. It's not, well, you said the star power of the other guys.
To me, see, he's another guy. Your champion is a babyface. He should leave these two, turn heel. He could have matches against Sammy Guevara. He could have matches against Jay Lethal. He could have matches against Hangman Adam Page. There's all these, even CM Punk, or Brian Pillman Jr. There's all these guys who we could see, Christian Cage wrestle, which would be great matchups.
It will be good.
But instead, we see him with
you're going to mentor, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. That's what you're going to do. So, let's move on to, the Eddie Kingston. He's finally going to have the match with Garcia, but we got to see Ever Rise, or, the guys, from WWE. And, they're just bugging him. This was a little cringy. I didn't like this too much, but you said it. You said it the best. Eddie Kingston needs a feud that he can win. He can go over, really clean. So that way he's still hot. So that's why they're doing it.
And they're like, oh, we read that article, we respect you, we think you're legit, blah blah blah. Like they're pretty much blowing him under the table, and then they throw coffee in his face, and then they it's like a big brawl starts. They run away, and everybody comes and separates them and everything. But no, this is stupid. It's 2 weeks in a row that they interview him when he's trying to have a segment. At this point now, it has to be a joke. You can't keep doing this every week and be like, no, we're doing it because it makes sense. It's like, no, it has to be a joke that people get interrupted. But
it's a little bit like you said, it's like they know they're doing it. Yeah. So that's why they keep doing it. And but we're gonna see this in also Rampage in a little bit. We're gonna be telling all the matches. This was just bad. This was the part of the show, like you said, that this is not needed. We had very country here. Who really cares about these guys? And they have the Billy Gunn Club, and this was just 2-3 minutes. It was not even that. These four guys jobbed out. And the one main reason to do this is just because now, for some odd circumstance, Billy Gunn and Darby Allin are having a feud. I really didn't understand this.
Sting and Darby and the Ass Boys. That's a Rampage feud. That's a YouTube feud. No, I won't say YouTube. Darby and they're all pretty names. People know who they are. So I would say but no, this doesn't need to be on Dynamite. What is this? And Darby Allin, he's the same thing as kind of Eddie Kingston. He was real hot, lost the match at the pay-per-view, but you still want to keep him fresh. Why is he having a match when there's four other guys? It would be fine if it was Darby Allin versus Billy Gunn 1-on-1, but you have Sting.
And you have Billy's
two kids, and it's such a clusterfuck, and it makes me not care. But if it was 1-on-1, I'd go, okay, because it's going to be a David versus Goliath thing, because Billy Gunn's huge and Darby Allin's small. This will be kind of cool, because Darby Allin's going to go over, so it'd be cool to see how they work the match.
Yeah.
But no, with everyone else involved, it's going to be distractions and bullshit and interference, and I don't care.
And I really don't like it. I really don't, like you said, it's Darby needs to be feuding with guys his age. Billy's is cool. I love Billy from back in the day.
Like I said, for me, the main complaint is Darby just needs to do stuff by himself.
Oh yeah, Sting. I told you, we've said this before. Sting is just way too much in there. It's why you bring the guy if you're gonna just be having being Darby Allin's dad? I don't care for that. So remember, Paul, this was revealed, and this was actually really interesting. The Battle of the Belts. It's going to be a special event Saturday Fight Night. It's going to be on January 8th, and it's going to be in Charlotte. So this is going to be really interesting to see. All the belts are going to be defended. So maybe Hangman Page he's going to have his first title defense. That's good. We're going to see what happens with Britt Baker. We're going to see also Lucha Bros and Guevara. So this is pretty interesting. Maybe also the TBS Championship, all of that. This is interesting. We'll see what happens. So I'm looking forward for this because AEW, at least they don't give you a whole pay-per-view, but maybe a special. So that's fine. So tell me a little bit about this, Paul. Undisputed Era. No. I mean, Adam Cole with Bobby Fish and all of that. They're pissed off because they've been losing a lot. They lost on Dynamite, they lost on Rampage. So now they're going to feud against Orange Cassidy and Best Friends. They even asked for Trent. I miss Trent. He actually made the group look serious. But here, Yuta, I don't know. This is not meant for me. Adam Cole, now I can tell you he's lost. Now is absolutely lost, and they need to bring Kyle O'Reilly right away so he can actually separate from the Young Bucks and start the Undisputed Era one more time.
I mean, to me, I didn't think that this was so bad in the sense that, I mean, yeah, anytime that I have to see the Best Friends or any combination of them on TV, it's awful. But, they pretty much made fun of these guys, and I think this is going to be a match for them to beat the Best Friends up. They're going to get a win. They're going to look strong, and it's going to build their momentum for eventually, we're going to see the Undisputed Era or whatever they're going to call themselves, versus the Elite. Whenever Kyle O'Reilly shows up, then it's okay. We have the 3-man. We can split away. And then, whether Omega comes back at that point or whatever you do. But no, I mean, I think that this is a few, not even a few, just a match or two for, Fish and Adam Cole to get a win. So
they need that. They need it. Like you said, hopefully, yeah, they just do it.
But I mean, if they have them lose for, God knows what reason, but if they would, then I have no clue.
Yeah, no, they need Kyle O'Reilly, and then they need actually strong, so they can be the Undisputed Era. But Paul, what are your thoughts about Dante Martin? Yeah, he's actually signing, and he's going to be part of Team Taz, despite all the suggestions.
Look at Ricky Starks. Look at that face.
He's like, like, and what do you think about Leo Rush? He's like, no, bro, I'm sorry, man.
No.
He's like, don't do it, man. Don't do it, man.
He's like, Dante. He's like, yo. He's like, what the fuck? And he just signs it. And Taz lost his mind. He shook the contract in Leo Rush's face. He's like, he signed it. And Dante Martin doesn't give a shit. He just climbed right over the table.
And he left. And Leo Rush.
Leo Rush and Shivani were like, this was good. They fast-tracked it. I thought we were maybe going to have a match. And then maybe Leo Rush was going to get pinned or something. And or something happened, there was going to be some kind of screwiness that there caused some rift in there, and then he would sign with Team Taz. But I mean, hey, I'm fine with this, but I didn't think that they would do it, that they turn Leo Rush to the baby face.
I mean, they probably see something in Leo Rush. That as a wrestler, he's badass. We all know that. Yeah. But I mean, what is it going to be the end goal? I mean, maybe they're going to pair him up with Brian Cage. So then they can keep feuding with Team Taz. But again, this team is lost because they're still fighting with people that are mid-card. They need to go up to the main card to have better, opponents and feuds and stuff. I mean, it's cool that they added a new guy, but the
only thing I will say to that is, not that Brian Cage is the best wrestler, but because Ricky Starks, I think, is still kind of hurt because we don't see him wrestle too often. So I think he's been on commentary, so maybe his neck, they're still trying to play it safe, and with that, we could see Hobbs and Dante Martin versus, like you said, Leo Rush versus Brian Cage. So that might not be too bad, because storyline, it all makes sense and everything. So, this could be pretty good. And so I like this segment. And I liked everybody's reactions. They acted like it was a genuine surprise.
Exactly. They didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah. So exactly how genuine it was, it actually enhanced the segment. So let's go now, Paul, with girls action. This is going to be one of the semifinals for the TBS Championship, and we're going to see Jamie Hayter against Sandorosa. A lot of cake right there. A lot of cake involved. Yes, there's a little bit of café con leche or any type of flavor here, depending on who you're rooting for. Match quality, really, really good. Sandorosa is a great wrestler. I think Jamie Hayter is great. The only thing is that she lacks his personality or a character yet. But she actually puts up good matches. In the end, to see an interference from Britt Baker also and for Reba. But Thunder Rosa surprises Jamie Hayter. She gets the win. You judge the picture. I'm not going to say anything about that. But, you see a little bit of dissension when it comes to Reba, Britt Baker, and Jamie Hayter. She's like, get the hell away from me. Maybe she's going to split up, be on her own. But this is the bracket, Paul. So your thoughts on all of this?
I think it's time because when they debuted her as the Stooge, what did we even say? We're we didn't think Britt Baker was a Shawn Michaels that needed a diesel. We didn't think she needed muscle. She already had Reba, which was the Stooge, to get beat up, to take the fall, to distract the ref. You didn't also need a muscle. So to me, that was a weird pairing. And, I'm fine with breaking them off because she should be on her own. She should be going after, let's say that we see Ruby Soho become TBS champion. Here's a heel to go after her. You know, something like that, or even to go after Thunder Rosa again if she becomes the women's champion.
Yes.
But I mean, the match was good, and I like this. If that's what it leads to, hopefully she doesn't stick with them, and then it's like and then like 2 weeks from now,
and they make it up. Yes.
Yeah. No. Hopefully, you know, this is her eventually leaving, or maybe she's gonna feud with Britt Baker. Maybe because, you know, they really don't have anything. You know, Thunder Rosa might be the next big woman set up, but like they're waiting for that down for line for the next pay-per-view. Maybe this Battle of the Belts, they'll set it up with Jamie Hayter or something. You know, who knows? So that would be good. So we got to wait and see.
Wait, but at least it's interesting. So this is not good. Okay, so we're gonna mention this very briefly. Jericho's cutting a promo, and now they seem to be
that's why your love for this guy must be undying because
I'm loyal.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like a good boyfriend. You know, that like sticks through the thin and thick. But this is just bullshit. So I'm just gonna ignore it. Because, like, again, I don't keep saying every week this guy should be out. They don't need this guy right now. He did what he needed to do to put the company on the map. He needed to do to like be a name, be like the muscle of that company, meaning like the backbone at the beginning. They don't need him anymore. He can go be with Fozzy, do an album, do whatever. But this is just bad. And you know, I don't know why they need to like, you know, get these guys like to have a segment with him. Is just terrible. I don't like this. It just takes away from the show for me.
And the problem is, I don't care if Jericho's on the show. I don't hate him. It's just everything he says is so bad and it's so corny and it's so dumb. He doesn't come out there and be like, what the hell's wrong with you? Eddie Kingston is badass. He's legit. You know, you guys are being childish playing games. You know, you want to play games, come with me in the ring and we'll play some games. Cut a legit promo. Be a man, not look at him. He has a square head, Chicago. He sounds like an infant, like a child.
Yes. Yeah,
it's like you're a fucking grown man. So that's right to me. Jericho sucks. Get him off TV.
Yeah, I said, like, you know, I love him, but it's like get him away so that way that they can be, you know, like expectation from him to come back, but they don't want to do that. They are really stubborn on that. So let's move on to something that was actually better than that. Danielson against Colt Cabana. This was actually a pretty decent match because Colt Cabana is not a bad wrestler. Unfortunately, you know, he's destined to keep like jobbing for everybody that has more name value than him. You know, before we'll touch on this a little bit, but like, Paul, what do you think about the match? I really like this, and you know, Brand Danielson, one more time, you know, good performance by him, and they actually took away 2 teeth from like Colt Cabana.
Yeah, and the match was really good, and like you said, Colt, he gave him some offense. You know, he sold for him. You know, he let him get some of his moves. Yeah, but you know, ultimately, we knew who was gonna win. We knew what the story was, and this was good. You know, and he got, you know, like he pretty much got the lock. I love when he flexed before he did the label lock, you know, but he he stomped his head. So he was already done. So that's why he could flex because, you know, Colt was pretty much like done, knocked out. And he gets the lock and we see like the little wimpy tap because he's like done. He taps and, you know, Danielson wins. And this was good. I love the promo he cuts after this because
look at that, Paul.
He goes back to the old, you know, tried and true heel. He's just like, you know, last time I was here in Chicago, you guys cheered me. Now I'm here again and you guys boo me. You know what that is? And I was already thinking, I'm like, he's going to say that's fickle. He's like, you guys are fickle. And I'm like, yeah. So, I mean, this is good. And, you know, Hangman Page comes out. He's pretty much like, let's do this tonight. He's like, of course. He's like, that's not cowboy shit, wanting to fight me after I just fought a match. He's like, that's coward shit. And so, I mean, great lines there by Danielson. And, you know, they have a stare down and they fight a little bit, which, I mean, I'm not going to be like, oh, this ruins the feud. This sucks now. Because, you know, the tensions are high. You know, they've been insulting each other, so they come to blows. Because how often do we see that? Oh, you know, Austin and Triple H or Austin and Rock punching each other.
There was nothing really big.
Yeah, you see it. It happens. It's not like they put each other through a table or he threw him off a building or anything, or he blew up his car with him driving in it. You know, it wasn't anything stupid.
No, it was actually. Yeah.
So this, I mean, I'm still excited for it. This is good. And, you know, he pretty much they're going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, I think, next week.
Yes.
And he said
there's going to be 2 members of the Dark Order.
Yeah, so, you know, we're going to see this continue on. And maybe, like you said, this is maybe going to be Hangman Page January 8th, you know, the Battle of the Belts. We have to wait and see. And they also said winter is coming. That's going to be another big. When they did that last year, I think that's where Omega.
That's when Omega won the championship to John Moxley.
So that the belt it's possible to maybe change there or be defended there. So lots of good stuff coming up.
Yes, exactly. Like maybe not too great, but like somewhat. Rampage is going to be Daniel Garcia and Eddie Kingston. So hopefully here Eddie has to get the win. It's just because he needs that more than anybody. He needs that more than Turkey. So hopefully he gets that win. It will be good. And this Britt Baker, actually, they explained this with this thing because they're having like the Thanksgiving dinner and all of that. And they said that Riho was never eliminated at the Battle Royal and all that. So for that reason, like she's been saying, hey, remember me? I was the first inaugural AEW Women's Champion. So can I have a match with Britt Baker? And if I win, of course, I'll receive a title opportunity. So this is going to be Rampage. For Riho, nobody really cares about her. We all know this. And she was like the inaugural champion, but that was a really poor decision on their end, and that's why the women's division took so long to really develop into something credible. But there you go. Despite all of that, she's going to have a match. Hopefully, Britt gets the win because I don't want to see this for the title. I don't care for this match. I don't know your thoughts. You're going to give me your opinions in a little bit. But then also Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta against Adam Cole and Bobby Fish, and we already mentioned this. Adam Cole and Bobby needs to win for the future of Undisputed Era. And this here, Chris Statlander and Ruby Soho quarterfinals. This is going to be on next Wednesday on Dynamite. This is going to be a good match with two baby faces. And according to Paul also, Ruby Soho will get the win. And I support him on that idea.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing, I already commented on the Undisputed Era match, to just comment on this Britt Baker and everything. I mean, I feel like maybe she's going to lose. Maybe Jamie Hayter's going to come out and fuck her and be like, what the heck? Now I lost the match. Now I have the match with Riho. Then she'll beat Riho. She will obviously drop the belt to her. But then maybe that'll, after that, we'll continue the feud, or set up the feud with Jamie Hayter. That's the only thing I can think. But I don't know. To me,
exactly.
I don't care about this, though, to begin with. This is another thing where it's like, do they not know what to do? You probably shouldn't have put Thunder Rosa in, the TBS title tournament. But unless she's going to win it all, which if she does, then I really don't know what babyface is going to beat Britt Baker if there is one. Unless they're signing somebody, unless they know,
maybe Tessa, like you said, maybe.
But to me, I think they would boo her. I don't think they would. I mean, they would cheer her because it's somebody new, but then after a while,
like you said, or maybe that we have like Taya Valkyrie, we have like maybe other girls that might be coming into him, to AEW. We'll see. But like you said, like Tony Khan probably has a plan. Kenny Omega supposedly is running that division. We'll see. As long as it's not Brandy Rhodes, we're good. That's all I can say. But let's go to the main event, and that's an 8-man tag. We know that this is tend to be a little bit hectic, a little bit claustrophobic, a little bit, clusterfuck. It was FTR going also with Andrade. And, going against Cody, Lucha Bros, and Malachi Black also was part of that team, and Pac. So this was actually, like I said, claustrophobic, like a lot of things going on at the same time. And I think that the right winners, though, because the heels need that more than the baby faces, just because of everything that happened at Full Gear. But what do you think about the match? Lucha Bros for me are so entertaining, but in this kind of like matches, like they get lost because they're way too much for like the speed of the other ones. Their speed doesn't match the other ones.
There was too many people in this match, like just too many, like you said, style clashes. And I mean, FTR, I like them, obviously. I like the Lucha Bros, but I don't know if I like them in the same match. I like Pac. I like Malachi, but I felt like I barely even saw him in this match. It's like, was Andrade in this? Wasn't he? Here's Cody. It's all this stuff. It's like, I mean, the only good thing, the only great thing, with Cody is every time he was in the ring, he did something. They booed him. He took off his ring bell, threw it in. Remember when he threw it in before? People be they'd love it. They would
put it on. Yeah,
they'd sleep with it at night and everything. And now they threw it back in the ring. And
nobody wants that piece of trash.
And I've been saying I hate Cody from day one. You go back a year and a half, in the archives, and I've said I hate Cody.
That was the first time he used the word hate.
But yeah, exactly. But if I got his belt, I would take it and I would at least sell it. I would try to make money. Whoever grabbed it hates Cody so much that they threw it back in the ring.
Yes.
Because I don't think that was a work. How do you do that? How do you throw it and go, oh, okay.
No, like you said, the fans from Chicago are way passionate. That's one of like the biggest markets in professional wrestling. So that was legit.
So that was good. Great. Every time Cody did something, they booed the shit out of it. Towards the end of the match, everybody was hitting their big finish. I think Dax, he hit like a pile driver. Cody came in, he hit the crossroads, and it was a pop for everybody's finish. Cody hits the crossroads. Boo. I mean, anything he did. If Cody, he probably was standing on the apron scratching his ass. Boo. I mean,
so Jean Paul was having Thanksgiving dinner at that point because he was loving it.
I mean, then we saw the what's it, Jose or whatever, Jose.
We got to see FTR. We got to see Tully Blanchard, and also we're going to see Arn Anderson going at it.
Yeah, the Brain Busters or the Four Horsemen. They were back together again, and they both knocked him out. I mean, it was just so much. And it was just something I didn't care about. You know what? To me, the main event was the first.
There you go. You wanted that? There you go. They were going to go out, and at the end, Andrade gets the win. He does the Hammerlock DDT onto Pac, and then everybody, the heels get the win. That was important. Why? Because these guys deserve wins also to still be in this contention, to still be fighting for this stuff. But Andrade wearing a different gear. That's also interesting to mention. Malachi seems to me lost now, and that's the one thing. The aura that he had is not there anymore because he's aligned with other people. Andrade again, all the other guy lost. But I mean, FTR is fine because they're attacking. They can align with whoever they want. But at least getting wins is better than just be jobbed out on weekly television. At least for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% on that. But tell me this: did this show feel like it was in reverse?
Yeah.
Whereas this maybe should have opened the show, and then CM Punk and MJF should have closed the show.
Yes.
Or something, because I mean, to me that was the most legit thing. That's what felt.
Well, the problem is, for example, Paul, is they do it at the end. They put it in the beginning so they get the hook. So again, people, okay, this is gonna be great. But it's a constant with Dynamite that starts so hot. But then towards the end, everybody's like, so because the main event seems to be it's difficult to book. Difficult to give me something as engaging, something as good as the beginning, as the first segment. Because even Hangman Page and Danielson should be then the end. But you told me this, when Sammy Guevara defends the TNT Championship, that will be the main event. So they struggle when it comes to the main event, at least for me, because I was even thinking, what is that going to be? And I'm like, this match is going to be. Who cares? Because CM Punk and MJ could have been talking for 2 hours. It would have been much more entertaining than this 8 guys going at it. And it sucks to say, but it's the truth.
No, I mean, I agree, and I don't really care for the Andrade feud and Pac, Malachi Black, Cody, all that stuff. To me, that's so uninteresting. You put it together in this tag team feud, and it just ruins everything. It's not good. But
at least that with the heels get the win, so that was good. So before we go off the air, family, thank you so very much, and we want to wish every single one of you that is being with us from day one, 2019. That's when we started. Happy Thanksgiving, for the new ones, for the old ones, for NXT or new NXT, the past. Well, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy with your families. Enjoy with a great meal, turkey, gravy, mashed potato, sweet potato, stuffing, however you want to do it. However your family celebrates it, just enjoy yourself. There's a lot of things to be thankful for. We always are thankful for every single one of you. Thankful for Paul. Thank you for the family, for everybody that are supporting us. And tomorrow we will have NXT UK. That will be our present to you guys. Hey, we're going to give you the best show that WWE has. So Paul, where they can find us inside the social media world.
And you can follow us Rope Break on Facebook, OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast and the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. You and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...